Hello everyone and welcome to Season 7, Episode 22 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in CHIKARA history with match number 29 on our list, which is the finals of the King of Trios tournament between House Strong Style of Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, and Trent Seven against House Sendai Girls of Meiko Satomura, Chisako, and Cassandra Miyagi from the CHIKARA King of Trios 2017 Night 3 event held on September the 3rd of 2017. The house is in the names of the two representing teams in this match is because King of Trios that year had a Game of Thrones kind of style theme. I've never seen Game of Thrones, but that's what they were going for there. But this match is just, it's so good. This was in kind of that weird, forgotten about era of CHIKARA. It was a point where I was only checking in for, the really, really big matches or shows, King of Trios obviously being one of them. And this was the one and only year that King of Trios was actually transplanted. There was a couple of years there where it seemed like King of Trios was always going to be the last one, that there wouldn't be another one. So I think it was kind of to the surprise of everybody that in 2017, not only was there another King of Trios, but it was, crossing over, the ocean there and being held overseas in the United Kingdom, which, for the United Kingdom fans was really, really cool, but it didn't really feel like a true King of Trios, that you would expect. But that said, this match was a fantastic classic finals, one of the best King of Trios finals ever, in my opinion. House Sendai Girls, they were going for back-to-back. They became the first Queens of Trios the year before in 2016. Had amassed so much popularity, really kind of came on the scene in 2012. We've talked about Meiko Satomura, before, coming in, this legendary Joshi pro wrestler in CHIKARA, having the Joshi mania and showing so much respect to, those Joshi wrestlers and promotions that, unless you were a tape trader, you really didn't know too much about. But Meiko had been around forever. She was a young teenager wrestling in WCW, and, CHIKARA really honored her, and, made her, made fans, I'd say, take note of the legend and all of her fantastic back catalog. And they did such a good job with that. And really what they were building to with this match is I think this was kind of the finals that everybody wanted to see. And especially they really wanted to see the showdown between Meiko Satomura and Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne is so great in this match, just talking trash to Meiko during the introductions. British Strong Style actually got a bye into the finals because there was an angle where the House of Rot forfeited due to Frightmare being injured by excessive force. I was going to try to pronounce it in Spanish, but I would butcher it. That was kind of something you'd see occasionally in CHIKARA, one of the rules where a wrestler, would commit too much punishment without trying to win and would essentially get disqualified. And there was a storyline in that, led to Frightmare having that done to him by Fire Ant. The House of Rot, Howl Wicked's stable with Frightmare, they couldn't continue in the tournament, and it led, this already smug British Strong Style team be even more smug and get that ride right into the finals, which is kind of, funny because in a way, you have arguably your most talented, hottest act in wrestling, maybe at that point. You'd think you'd maximize that and have them wrestle as many times as possible, but it really added to the story here. British Strong Style in the first round of King of Trios 2017, they made Team White Wolf Wrestling very much like how the British Strong Style team kind of got put on the map, through King of Trios and CHIKARA a year prior, specifically wrestling, the Bullet Club team. British Strong Style kind of did that with the White Wolf guys. You might know A Kid, now known as Axiom, in NXT. He was part of that. Carlos Romo, who wrestles on the Independents quite recently. Team British Strong Style really did their best to give those guys the match of a lifetime and put them on the map. They also had a great match with the Throwbacks team of Mr. Touchdown, Dasher Hatfield, and Simon Gotch. Whereas Team Sendai, they kind of worked, all of the CHIKARA kind of stable teams. They wrestled the Zyber Hawks and the House of the Seven Seas and the team of Cornelius Crummell, Sonny DeFarge, and Juan Francisco de Coronado en route to the finals. Both teams had a really good run throughout the tournament. They, waste no time. They kind of give us that, tease at the start of Dunne and Satomura, and Pete Dunne, snaps her fingers very early. We get some comedy where Trent Seven and Cassandra Miyagi, compare their hairdos, and, Trent's mustache, and Dash and Tyler kind of get this great quick exchange. And it leads to Pete Dunne just coming in and clobbering Dash Chisako, who's, the smallest woman on her team, with a big forearm, and just absolutely, beating her down and hitting all of these great triple teams. And it was really, really smart, because this match was, in British Strong Style's backyard. You'd kind of expect the crowd to maybe be behind them, but just by being dastardly heels at the start, it allowed the crowd to really get behind the Sendai Girls trio, which added to this match when you kind of have that clear face and heel dynamic. Pete Dunne, like I said, his performance in this match is the best of all. He just brutalizes poor Dash Chisako. Is just, so dirty, knocking the others off the apron, landing cheap shots whenever he can. This leads to a great moment where Meiko Satomura has enough, and, she comes in and starts the fight. But of course, that allows, the heels to beat down even more and even more and even more. But this match, it ends up building into this great, finishing run that, has this amazing, crossbody from poor Dash Chisako, who got beat down all match. She hits a crossbody off of this set, which is constructed to look like a castle, playing into the Game of Thrones theme. And she gets this great, just runs wild with all of this offense with double stomps and missile drop kicks, and a great near fall on Pete Dunne. But leading into the closing of this match, it really is all about Meiko and Dunne. Meiko Satomura kicks the ever-loving tar out of both members of Mustache Mountain. She hits both of them with like a stacked Death Valley driver. But Pete Dunne, playing into him being that dastardly heel throughout the match, he slides in and hits the bitter end, or tries to, I should say, on Meiko. She counters it into a sick DDT for 2. But ends up diving into a forearm from him, and it's a bitter end for 2. They go really crazy with the near falls here, but the crowd is hot, and it totally works. Pete hits a tombstone on her. She kicks out at 1. She hits the Shining Axe kick on Pete Dunne, but that's broken up for 2. At this point, I mentioned, British Strong Style maybe being like the hottest act in all of independent wrestling. All 3 of these guys were on WWE television. Pete Dunne was the, before there was really a full NXT UK, he was the WWE United Kingdom champion. He had beat Tyler Bate for it in an absolutely classic show stealer at NXT TakeOver Chicago. They had done the whole tournament where, Bate beat Dunne in the finals back in January of 2017. So they're, really, really hot that these guys, were these WWE attractions working the independents. So, of course, they kind of play into the whole WWE NXT thing here, where Mustache Mountain, they go for stereo pedigrees on the ring apron, but they end up getting, one gets backdropped on the apron and the other gets German suplex, which was crazy. But ultimately, like I said, it's all about Dunne and Satomura. They get their finishing sequence. Meiko goes for the DVD once more. It gets countered into the bitter end, and that's enough for 3. We get a good show of respect after the match. British Strong Style, they really do a great job putting the Sendai Girls over. And even though, throughout the match, there was this big time, like, ruthless grudge between Dunne and Satomura, I did like seeing the show of respect at the end. And, the crowd really gave them a good reception. And I always feel like with the tournament, especially a recurring tournament that is based, in one promotion, like a King of Trios, for example, you got to mix up your winners. You want to put your guys over and have, your Chikara staples win. But at the same time, when you're bringing in all of this outside talent, you need to let that outside talent win just as often as well, because it helps, increase the prestige and legitimize your tournament and make it something that, all of these wrestlers from all over the world would want to come to Chikara and try to win. So I had no problems with the British Strong Style team winning here. Again, you could argue because they were in these WWE deals, could they lose? I don't know. But ultimately, it didn't matter. They were the rightful winners of this tournament. They won it on their home court. And the Sendai girls put in another amazing performance, just shy of becoming the first ever back-to-back King of Trios. This match is really, really fun. If you followed Chikara through its run, again, it might have been one that kind of slipped by because of the era that it was in. But you can watch this match, of course, on independentwrestling.tv. You can subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so that you never miss a video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50. And please join me again next time as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50.